You know, people like to talk like it's hard to get answers at a Lane Kiffin press conference, but SEC Media Days, he was actually quite clear with an overarching theme of his team going into this season, and that is culture building. We'll hear from the guys right after this.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, thanks for tuning in to this extra edition of the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. This will be relatively short, about 8 minutes or so, just like we did yesterday with the Sankey video. Lane Kiffin and his guys went on stage yesterday at SEC Media Days, and believe it or not, there was a theme. It was culture building, and you'll hear from the guys in just a second. Cedric Johnson, Nick Broeker, Jonathan Mingo, and Lane Kiffin all are going to be on this episode, and we will kind of let them speak for themselves. But I thought it was very interesting that culture was such a big part, because culture, if you think about it, was going to be a big part. Anything with this grand experiment of the transfer portal that they're doing, the culture is going to be the hardest part to get in there. So you have spring for most of those guys, but there's some coming in for the summer. But August, probably the first 2 or 3 weeks of fall camp, is going to be critical. Before we get into it, though, I want to tell you about BetOnline.net. It is the best source for all of your betting needs and sports information. You can find all these sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's NHL playoffs and Major League Baseball. NHL is over with. BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. It remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. It's the fastest and easiest way to check out on your favorite sports and events, including MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. You can see it's going to pop up in a little bit that BetOnline has a 21.5 point line for Ole Miss versus Troy in Week 1, and also they're predicting a regular season win total of 7.5. If you disagree with any of those, you can kind of put your money where your mouth is. It's going to be really cool. It's BetOnline, where the game starts.
It's been going good. Right now, we've just been working out, doing sprints, staying conditioned for the season, getting ready. A lot of player meetings, a lot of player development, like just us by ourselves, trying to get each other better, trying to keep forming that brotherhood so we can be a great team this year.
Okay, well, I'm good now. I'm blessed to be back on the field. And what was the second question again?
Was it frustrating? And your first time you had to go through an injury?
It's always frustrating being an injury because, you work so hard all season. So it was kind of hard just being out. It was right before the Alabama game, so that's a game you look forward to all season. So I just had to put my head down and just pray about it, and I knew God was going to put me in the right path so I can get back healthy.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, going into last season, the Outback Bowl kind of propelled us. We kind of got a good taste of winning, and that helped us a lot last year. Now, we had a good regular season and kind of have a sour taste in our mouth from the Sugar Bowl, so I think we're expecting a lot more this year.
I think that just depends on your view of things and what you consider better. I don't think it will be because, maybe I'm not a traditionalist in a lot of areas because you have to evolve in how you run programs and change on offense. But I think for rivalries to be broken up and, people that have been in conferences so long, like, these 4, major teams have to move like they are, really, I don't know. I mean, obviously it's about money, and, if it wasn't about money, they wouldn't be doing it. So I don't think it's really good for the history of college football. I don't think we'll look back and say, wow, that was awesome.
I feel like us continue to have a bond as a brotherhood, just continue to stick together and work together and not have any animosity to each other. With the new transfers, it could be some different things. So I feel like just staying together as a unit, inviting the new transfers in, welcoming them in, loving them. I feel like that's just the biggest thing.
It's a blessing to be a receiver of Coach Kiffin because, receivers, we are his babies. So he puts us in the right position every week to get open, and he loves getting receivers the ball. So in his offense, you just got to play fast and just be ready for a new change every other drive because he's always cooking something up. So we just got to be ready to receive him.
Yeah, it's been really cool to see. They've competed really well with each other, really helped each other grow, and done things the right way. They have competed, but at the same time they've kept the relationship on and off the field, and it's been really fun to see them both get better and keep like the same level of friendship off the field.
Yeah, I think we've got to maximize every practice and training camp like you'd always want to, but especially because so many new people, and maximize our even meetings that aren't necessarily about the X's and O's with the players and culture and how we do things, because that's a tremendous challenge ahead of us, which is a new age challenge because in college football, normally your players have been with you and kind of come up in the system, and your best players are usually been there a few years, and now that's different. A lot of times you got your best players coming in from somewhere else that you didn't even know.
I feel like I'm a lot more confident this year. Just going off of starting last year, I feel like I know exactly what I need to do. Joiners, he's honing in on the skills I need, my pass rush ability, my run block ability. I feel like I'm just gonna have a great year this year.
You just gotta be detailed because everybody has talent in the SEC. It's the hardest conference in the country, so you just gotta make sure your techniques is right, be able to read the coverage, and make sure you're in the right position at the right time. Because nothing comes easy in the SEC.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, we have a lot of guys coming back. I think we returned 4 starters, and Mason's coming in as well. He's really fit in like a glove with us. He's done a really great job of really meshing in with us. And like you said, there's a lot of new guys, but we're kind of an older group now. A lot of us have been playing for a couple of years now, and it's really our time to kind of lead the team.
Well, we had to restart really. Losing so many players and coaches too. We lost half our staff, lost our strength coach, who was very critical to our success. So, that presents a lot of challenges that aren't just, okay, hey, we already got this thing going, and just keep doing what we're doing. So we've kind of had to restart that way.
All right, you hear from them. There they are. They talk about what they're doing this season and everything going on. But the big thing from media days probably has to be that there is a cultural element that needs to be developed by the team early in fall camp, and that is going to be critical for their season. If you look at this grand experiment that is the transfer portal, that is the big thing, because you see the media, and you can tell by the questions they ask if you watched the media days yesterday. They're planning on having the K-State style storyline no matter what happens for Ole Miss this year. If Ole Miss wins big, they're going to say, but they're not doing it the right way. It was kind of like K-State and JUCOs back at the turn of the century. If they fail, it's like, see, you have to do it this way. And I think it's important that Ole Miss fans specifically do not fall into this trap, because 1 year does not matter. Now, 1 year to year, Ole Miss football could be fairly volatile in the near term. But it is worth it to get where we want to get. Remember the talent transformation that has happened. We just have to basically do what we're supposed to do and handle our business, basically, and get ready for this greatness that the season is going to go, because the talent infusion of this roster is unlike what we've seen in the past. Did we get it in the transfer portal? Yes, we absolutely did. Does that mean it didn't happen? No. They're there. So if those guys can get on the same page and we can do this cultural element that they're talking about, they have a chance to be really, really good. 10-2 is not off the table for these guys, but neither is 6-6. The first month of fall camp is going to tell the tale when it comes to that. Now, is it somewhere in the middle? Maybe. Possibly. Is it going to be extremely good? I don't know. Next year, 2023, is probably the year that they can compete. Like, literally compete for all of the marbles. But this year is going to be an interesting year, because this is the injection of the talent. Most of these guys have 2 and 3 years of eligibility, unlike the K-State JUCOs from back in the day. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It genuinely really is. And I'm kind of interested to see where this team could end up. Now, you can ask anybody that talks. I'm one of the most positive people in the world. Well, basically it comes off as that because I'm extremely forward thinking. You will see people that always want to talk about something that happened in the past. And I just generally don't really do that. I don't dwell on it. As soon as it happens, I turn the page and it's over. And it's not really something I think about. Now, there's some events in the past, like I was at the Immaculate Deflection. I remember that. I have photographs in my head of both sides standing up and all that. But I don't dwell on it because it doesn't matter. Anything that has happened in the past, it might be a part of who you are, but it doesn't really have an effect on how things will be moving forward. People, I'm sure you've heard this. It's like Ole Miss has a trouble. They're going to struggle against Alabama because they always struggle against Alabama. Well, Alabama's usually good, and they had a talent discrepancy. If you look at the Mississippi-Alabama All-Star game, I think Mississippi lost 20 straight years or something like that. So, yes, Ole Miss was going to have trouble with Alabama, but not because they always have trouble with Alabama. It was because their teams were better teams. If you allow yourself to be psyched out, things can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Let's say during that 20-year period, when Alabama traditionally had a better team than Ole Miss. One year, Ole Miss had a team that could step up and get them. Let's say when Eli went to Tuscaloosa and Deuce went to Tuscaloosa. That's even better. Deuce went to Tuscaloosa in like 99 or something like that. And Alabama just beat them like 42-7. And I think that was a 3-8 Alabama team. That was an example of the team losing to the logo on the helmet, to it becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. We always struggle with these guys, so we're going to struggle with these guys. It was a confidence issue. That's the reason I tell you about team sports. Confidence is everything. Without it, you're not going to be good. With it, you're going to be great. And developing confidence on your team is part of this cultural thing, and it is also a Lane Kiffin superpower. So enjoy that. Anyway, this has been an extra. It went on a little longer than I expected it to. But you heard from the guys. We will have interviews during the week from different people. It should be a pretty good week of shows, actually. But if we have extras, we'll find a way to get them on the channel as well. So thank you very much, and we'll see you later. Peace.